at playing your open power chord, which is down here, and it's also going to take a look at how you can start to pick your power chords to give them a different sound. So to start off, I hope you've noticed by now that if you work the shape that we've been working with power chords, if you work it down the neck, eventually you run out of room. There's nothing you can do in this shape because your finger will be off the guitar. But there still is a chord there. Now, the way you should finger this chord, there's two ways you can, and I'll touch on both. I use one much more than the other, but I will still mention both. The way that I use, 9 times out of 10, is to take your first finger and put it over both the second frets of the 5th and 4th string, okay? So you have one finger hitting 2 frets. And this is the only time for now that we're going to have one finger hitting more than 1 frets. Everything else you should be doing, again, should be that one finger per string idea, so you get a clear sound if you're trying to play out and you're trying to play everything. Now, the way this chord works is, if you remember your shape, you have your bass note, you go up 2 frets, and then you have the next 2 strings played, right? You have the exact same thing here, but your guitar is really playing the first fret for you. You're playing open, going up 2 frets, 1, 2, and then you have the next 2 strings. Now it's very important, since your finger's laying flat here for the first time, you don't strum more than the bottom 3 strings. Or else you get this, a very muted sound, or you get that if you're pressing very hard. So you need to make sure, just like with all the other chords, that you're playing only the bottom 3 strings to stay in the chord. So that takes care of your bass power chord. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to get even lower when you're playing your notes. It's very good to be able to get good at this chord, because especially for rock and for metal, there's a lot of E just chugging along. There's a lot of chugging along down there. So it's important that you can learn to just bar this with your first finger. Now the second way to play this, and it's not so much for our purposes, but what you can do is you can take your middle finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and your ring finger, put it on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Same notes. And this fret, if you just do this, is actually E minor. If you strum on E major. And this fingering is more for playing, these type of chords, which again aren't great for our purposes. But I figured I would mention it because you can play it that way. Okay, so now you have this fret. You should be able to play around and expand your range just a little bit more. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was being able to pick your power chords. And what this does is it allows you to change up the sounds that you're getting without actually changing your left hand around that much. You can... Okay, so you don't always have to move your left hand to change up what you're doing. Now, in this, there are 2 ways you can pick your power chords. The first is to pick down all the time, which is perfectly fine. The other way would be to pick down on the first 2 and up on the 3rd. Personally, I find that way much easier, and it's up to you. Either way is right. The reason for this is because either one of those can get you into learning techniques down the line of playing 3 in a row or playing 2 and 1 back. So either way is fine for now. Find which one works for you. And then, once you have that down, I want you to not only play 3 in a row, but I want you to try things like this. Playing up, you can go to... Try different patterns, you can play around, and finally, once you have that, I want you to start moving your power chord around and pick it. If you're interested in learning what that was simply a power chord on the 5th fret, the 8th fret, the 7th fret, and the 3rd fret, and just playing 6th, 5th, and 4th string each time. Now, once you can do all of that, and I know this could be a bit of a hefty video if you're not used to doing some of this stuff, is I want you to practice switching between picking and chords. Any way that you can do this is fine. And what this does is it starts to get you, and it starts to make your brain be able to, send signals to your hand of, okay, now I'm picking, now I'm strumming. Now I'm picking, now I'm strumming, and it starts to open up the things that you can do with the guitar. So now you have that, play around. Play around, use a bunch of different frets, work on the coordination between the left hand and the right hand with the strumming and the picking, and try to work this chord. You can even work the bass chord into that. So now you have the bass chord and you have picking. This lesson to take you a little bit of time now to go around and start to play different notes. You can start to pick them, you can start to strum them, palm beat them, alternate strum them. All the different techniques we've worked on, try to start incorporating so you can do each one fairly well at this point. You don't have to do it fast, but just make sure that you can do it well and smoothly. Come back, and in the next video we're going to talk about a few ways how you can change things up even more and add a couple cool few tricks to what we've talked about now. See you soon.